Hello everyone and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host Charles. Along with me as always my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell. How are you, Charles?
I'm good. Are you ready to pitch a brand new television series that we've come up with at the top of our heads? I mean, you've come up with it off the top of your head, but...
Well, no, not off the top of my head. I wrote it down. It's words in front of me.
But the words came from the top of your head. They
yeah,
went
but that doesn't
through
mean
the
it's
pencil.
coming from the top of my head. It came.
It came from the top of your head. These new
already
TV
there.
series that we come up with TV series and we pitch them to you.
Yep, every week.
My biggest
always the
fear about this series, about this show that we do, is that we're gonna get contacted by like a studio in order to be like, we've been listening to your podcast, we love all the pitches, we want you to come work for us. And we get there on the first day, they're like, all right, come up with some TV show ideas, and we just can't think of any. Like we've used them all up.
Don't worry, because that will never happen, because that's
No.
not how they make TV shows.
It's not, but I just like in my mind I imagine us just getting in, we sit at the table, you know, it's a big round table, and they're like, all right, we've got you a writer's room, now you're gonna be coming up with some TV, we come up with like 3 TV shows, we'll pick one, and all of our TV show ideas are just the shows we've already pitched, and they're like, no, we want something brand new, you know, something that you've never done before, and everything we come up with is just
It's just the same.
it's just a redoing, like just smashing different like tropes and ideas from all of our shows together,
Yeah.
you know, because we try and be original, we try and come up with new ideas, but sometimes it's difficult because lots of things have been made and we've already had a lot of new ideas. But you have a brand new, completely original idea that's going to break the mold.
Yeah, completely original. It's a new idea, right? Okay, so here's what we'll do. No one's ever done this before. Mm-hmm. We'll create a world in which it's like medieval times-ish.
Oh.
We'll call it like, but there's like weird creatures. We'll call them elves and dwarves. All right?
Okay, cool.
Let's call this genre fantasy. All right. New genre.
Because it doesn't exist. Because it's fantasy.
Completely new. No one's ever done it before.
Yeah, I like it.
Anyway, my show, I'm between 2 names right now, either The Fallen Empire or The Frontier of Asry. Mm-hmm. I'm not really a big fan of either name, but it's whatever. I've been thinking about it for too long, and I'm just giving up on the name.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm kind of flipping some tropes of fantasy, because I think some things are overplayed.
Yeah, especially with that new Lord of the Rings show that's coming out. There's going to be everybody wants to make fun of fantasy tropes. It's fantasies for nerds.
Well, I'm not making fun of fantasy. I'm just this isn't like a satirical for funny show. Mm-hmm. It makes me a little funny. Like characters can make jokes, but it's the world isn't silly. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Elves in this world are a fleeting species. So they live about like 40 years. Mm-hmm. So in normal fantasy, elves can like live for like a long time, and you know they
live thousands.
They can't have a lot of kids and stuff. But in this, they repopulate very easily, but they only live to about 40, and they have enhanced speed and agility.
Okay.
And they live a very wild and free lifestyle. So
in the woods?
they're all like in the woods. They're all about trying to live to have fun and excitement. They want to live to find pleasure in their lives.
Okay, so are they
Dwarves,
like, you know, hedonists, or are they just like adventurers and
not in
explorers?
like a overtly sexual way. Just like they want to find, you know, they like to go on swings and jump from tree to tree and
ride a horse through a field.
They enjoy battle in like an honorable sense. They're not like bloodlust.
Yeah.
They like to
fight for what they believe
in.
in. You know, that sort of thing. That makes sense. All right, cool.
Dwarves also live to around their 40s. Mm-hmm. But they age rapidly. So like dwarves will reach like full maturity at like 8. And at like 40, they have like the wisdom of like a 90-year-old.
Okay.
But they have like the body of like a 60-year-old.
So they age
They're
really
also dwarves,
fast.
so they're small. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they age quickly, essentially.
And do the elves just die young?
Elves just die like at 40. Like at 40, they look like they're a 40-year-old human, essentially.
Okay.
But that's it. You know, they don't look old. Well, the dwarves, they look old when they die. They have enhanced strength, and unlike the elves who have a hedonistic lifestyle, the dwarves live to work. They want to try to get as much done in their lifetime as possible to pass on to the next generation.
Okay. So it's basically just like the two different kinds of people.
Yeah. Then we've got humans who are like a wise, isolated race because they live, about as long as we do, like 70s, 80s, which is like double the lifetime of the elves. So that's like a big deal. So they've experienced more in their lives, and they're kind of like the ancient species of the continent. The elves and dwarves are new. Kind of trying to flip that on its head. So the humans were there before the elves. Normally in fantasy, it's like that the humans are taking over from the elves and the dwarves.
Yeah, and usually in fantasy, the humans are all like horrible and destructive and constantly infighting. So I think it's smart to make them, they're the wise, isolated people.
Well, that's because they've experienced that infighting. Now they're like, they're done. They want to just hide, essentially. Speaking of infighting, orcs in this universe in Lord of the Rings, orcs are elves. In this universe, orcs are humans. Who experimented and lost their intelligence in exchange for strength, speed, and agility. So,
and they get gnarly
We'll
looking?
talk about this, but briefly, there was when the elves and the dwarves first showed up, there was a war between the elves and the dwarves and the humans. And the humans were getting their butts kicked, and so they created orcs to try to fight back.
Yeah.
But orcs were super chaotic, and it ended up shattering both the dwarven elves front and the humans. So now the world is populated by this like small kingdom, the kingdom of Asry, which is where the humans are, this isolated place. The orcs who were like roaming tribes, not united under any leader. Dwarves who were also roaming sects, so they live in different mountains all around, but they're not united.
Yeah.
And elves, they're tribes in the woods as well. So there's not really any superpowers really, besides the kingdom of Asry, which is sort of
but the humans want to stay away from everybody else. They're like, we fought you guys once. It wasn't even that long ago, but all you guys age really, really fast. So you don't remember it, but it was really bad. So we're just going to go away, and we're going to not use our huge military power unless something, threatens everybody, right? Or something like that. Yeah,
and they don't really even have that amazing of a military. It's like I kind of imagine them like this climate politically is like the Western Roman Empire around the time it was going to fall.
Okay.
So it's like they have like the presence, and they have the resources, but they're drained and they're not as splendid as they once were. And the tribes are growing in strength around them.
Maybe the tribes, like maybe the human, like civilization, Asry, is like they have, perceived to have this really powerful military by the tribes, but then in reality, it's just like an ailing, not failing civilization, but a civilization that is definitely needs to change. If they want to survive.
It's like the Western Roman Empire, where they could squash any individual tribe very easily. It's not even difficult at all.
Yeah.
But if they were united, they would slaughter them, as they did. Anyway, Kingdom of Asry, King Balder is the king. And in this universe, there's magic, but it's all potions.
Okay, there's no
so
fireballs.
All magic is potions. There's no staves or anything. You gotta mix two things together, and then you can throw the potion and it'll explode into fire.
So is this a kind of universe where it's basically just science but they don't understand it, or is it actually
it's like science, except science that were cooler, and you could create more explosions and weird stuff because the ingredients are different, right? The physics and the chemistry of this world's different.
Yeah. Maybe you could turn into a beast. Could I turn into like a big beast, or
Maybe you could like give yourself enhanced strength or something. Like you
Okay.
could give yourself a beast arm or something and then punch
all
something.
right,
and it goes
cool.
away.
I like a
Yeah,
beast
something
arm.
like that. But it's all about, knowing the plants around you and being able to mix them and do stuff, and then you can create these cool, fireballs or ice or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of magic you need. But you need the plants. That's necessary.
And maybe each different, like the regions that are controlled by the different tribes have access to different plants, different like herbs. So maybe each sort of civilization, or not civilization because they're, individual tribes, but maybe each race has like magic that they're more proficient in just because that's what's around them more often. It's like the orcs.
And of course, in this universe, the humans have the most knowledge about it because they have been there the longest.
Yeah.
And they have the oldest people, so they have the people that can, remember all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So they have the most skilled natural philosophers, is what I'm calling them.
Okay, I like that.
If you are a magician, you're a natural philosopher. Magic person.
Magic person.
Yep. So our protagonist, her name is Hollis of Riverbend. Riverbend's the town. Mm-hmm. She's around like 15, 17,
Yeah.
young age,
Young for a human.
Like Luke Skywalker, this just young person
Yeah.
getting their start in the world. She is a apprentice natural philosopher. She knows a lot about potions and is very interested in learning about plants and the environment. Very shy and curious person, but can be condescending to people that are no less than her, But she doesn't really mean it like that, but it comes off that way.
Yeah.
Accidentally mean.
She's accidentally mean and condescending. All right,
Accidentally. Yep, that's what I just said, Charles. Thanks for repeating.
cool. You're welcome. I in case I needed it repeated, I did.
Next, we have Celeste, who's 16 to 18. Celeste is an apprentice knight/squire. She's tough, arrogant, always trying to prove herself. She's also Hollis's bully.
Okay.
They have a very interesting relationship because it's Celeste will bully Hollis physically, and Hollis will bully Celeste emotionally.
With words, and maybe she hides she finds a plant that makes you itch, and she hides it in her armor or something, And then Hollis.
So you get the sense that it's not like mean. It's not like
it's
evil.
friend bullying.
No. They're definitely not friends. They're definitely bullying each other. They definitely hate each other.
Okay.
You get a sense that it's not evil though on Celeste's part because Hollis is mean back. Mm-hmm. So it's more of a rivalry than a bullying.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hal, 19 to 21, is Hollis's older brother. He is a full-fledged knight who takes care of his sister. He's not around a ton because he has knight stuff to do. He's like the dad in every 50s movie where it's like there in the morning and there at night.
Yeah, and he expects a martini.
He's nice. He makes her breakfast. He's a good older brother. He makes her breakfast. He'll make dinner once he gets home. But he's tired. He's busy. He's a nice person.
Is he like a noble knight of the realm? Okay.
He's like, he started from nothing. His little sister and him started from nothing, but now they have sort of a respectable home, place in the community because he's done so well as a knight and proven himself. And he's able to help his sister, study natural philosophy and stuff.
Yeah, he's getting her lessons, maybe a private tutor or something, and that's the most expensive thing they have access to. Like that's a big deal in the town that she's got a private tutor.
Maybe not a private tutor. Maybe you can just afford the books.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we'll get into the whole apprentice thing. Then we have Quent. Quent is 15 to 17, same age as Hollis.
Yeah.
He's Hollis's best friend. He's nice. He's cocky but clumsy, and he's a good shot. He's an apprentice ranger, or at least he wants to be a ranger.
Yeah. What's a shot with what?
Ranger.
Bow and arrow?
Bow.
Bow and arrow. All right, cool.
Anyway, so the show, the pilot, is going to start off with Selection Day. Selection Day is mentors from around the kingdom of Asry, from all the different branches of the kingdom's workforce, select candidates for training. So it's kind of like the combine in the draft.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
They go through exercises and they're like scored. It's like the SATs, I guess. Depending on what you're doing, I guess.
Like any young adult, series, like Divergent, when they have to, do a series of tests in order to be selected.
But it's not like if you fail, you die or something. It's like your score and like how you do is like watched by the mentors, and then they'll pick you.
Okay. And do the mentors pick multiple students or just one?
No, every mentor gets one person.
Okay. So maybe there's like 15, or maybe there's like 15
there's a lot
mentors.
Of mentors, and it's not just the cool stuff like knights and philosophers and rangers. It's like bakers and stuff like that.
I was literally going to say bakers.
I heard you start it, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Selection Day. Hollis wakes up, greeted by Hal, and makes her breakfast, and telling her about what's happening. They said they just heard news that Therese and Vargas are missing. Therese and Vargas are the kingdom's most famous frontier guard.
Yeah.
Which is like people that are allowed to leave the kingdom to like scout and do like work in the wilds and stuff. Missions and stuff for the king.
Yeah.
It's something that Hal's part of, so he knows them, sort of. Not knows them personally, but like he knows of them.
Maybe he's met them one time.
Yeah, but like not actually talked to them. Like just saw them far away and was like, oh.
Oh yeah.
Because they're very famous. Because they're the two most famous. Therese is actually the daughter of the king. She's like a famous warrior, and Vargas is a very famous natural philosopher. He's like very high up in the.
He's like Socrates. Community. Like everybody, he teaches like royalty, and he, maybe he is one of the few people that has like, do we have books in this universe? Are we having books yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
he's got a lot of books published or something.
Maybe we could show that she has a Holden. What was her name? How was it?
Hollis.
Hollis. Why did I say Holden? Hollis has like some of his books, and maybe she's reading one of them while eating breakfast with her brother.
Yeah.
And
it's like the encyclopedia on the tribe of the Western Wood Elves. And their connection with the environment.
It's like a whole book on just the plants of the Great Plains or some shit.
Yeah. So they're lost. And they're like, oh, that's a pretty big deal. I wonder what's gonna happen. And then he's like, I wouldn't worry about it. Therese is, she's one of the best warriors that ever. She's the best warrior in the Frontiers Guard.
Yeah.
She'll probably slaughter the whole group of orcs or whatever's captured them, and they'll be free.
Or Falstaff will melt all their faces. Vargas will melt all their faces with one of his potions. That guy's a real, you think you got him down, and then he shows you up again. He's a real wild card, that guy.
Then he shows you up again.
Yeah, he shows you up.
Crawls along everybody.
Yeah.
Shows you up again. Anyway, so Hal says good luck, and she starts walking to the castle with Quent, her friend. It's like walking to school. The castles were Selection Days. And so Quent's excited to become a ranger. He seems like he's talking about it. He's like, yeah, I mean, I definitely got it in the bag, because you just have to score like a 42. You just throw some number. And that's pretty low. I could hit the board. I'll be all right. I won't get to be like the top ranger's apprentice, but I'll be in there.
I'll be in there. I got it. And he trips as he says it, picks himself back up.
He's a clumsy kid, but he's good.
He's got a good heart, and he's the one thing he's not clumsy at is with a bow.
But I kind of imagine he shoots it sort of clumsily, but it works out,
Yeah, he's got a very unique, weird way of holding the bow. And he's like,
But
he moves with it as he like shoots it or something. But it's
I think that would be fun if he like to shoot well. He has to be moving. He can't shoot standing still. Maybe that can be a thing at training day where it's like he's not doing well at first, and then Hollis, like trips him or something while he's shooting, and he nails the shot.
And he hits it. And
so he has to be moving.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good, unique little trait for him.
So on the way to the castle, they run into Celeste, and Hollis and Celeste get into a little fight. Hollis verbally makes fun of her, says like she'll never be a warrior and stuff because she's bad. And Celeste shoves her and pushes her around.
Throws a rock at her head.
Eventually, you know, they get out of the fight. When they get near the castle, guards yell at them. They're like, stop fighting, kids.
Stop fighting, you kids, you fucking dumbasses. That sort of thing. They probably wouldn't say that. We'd have a fun word to say instead of fucking.
Yeah.
You Gracken
It's a PG show.
kids. Gracken kids, man.
Bunch of grackles.
That sort of thing. Because it's fantasy.
So they have the training. Hollis and Celeste both do very well. Celeste has shown up everyone else in the region. She's like by far the greatest warrior. They have like maybe a mosh pit, like a big like you know, like gladiator arena thing, and she's just wiping kids out.
She's
easily.
like half a foot taller than pretty much everybody else in the thing.
Everybody just knocking every kid out
She's
easily.
like,
everyone's scared of her, just trying to get away.
Yeah. Maybe she's like losing one of her, or she's like coming close to lose one of her bouts, and then Hollis yells like, "Hey, loser, how about you try again next year?" Haha, making fun of her, and that gives her
she gets like hit, yeah.
The tiny bit of rage she needs to push her over the edge.
I that would be a good shot. Like Celeste gets like kicked in the face, and she's like looking up. And like her head gets hung backwards, and she's looking at the crowd. She sees, silently just sees Hollis in the crowd watching, talking to Quent. And she just like, you can see in her eyes that Hollis is talking about her in a negative way.
Yeah.
And she just like comes back up and knocks the person out with one punch.
That would be good.
She's so pissed off.
That's good.
So Hollis also does very well. So we'll have maybe some tense moment where she's like working on an experiment that's like bubbling like crazy, and everyone around her is like, "Oh no, it's dangerous, get down," or whatever. And then she like throws in some powder, and then it settles, and it's like, oh, and it's like, you know, in a cool firebomb potion or something.
And then you know,
it's like, wow,
that
that's
thing
amazing.
bubbles up. A big dragon.
And it's like, you know, it's settled, so she like pours in a little vial and throws it. It's this cool explosion. Everyone's like, wow, you're amazing at this.
And then they're like, maybe they have a panel of the judges, and they're all like, They're all looking at each other.
Anyway,
My. Yeah. All right.
Then they have like the dodgeball lineup, you know? Everyone's got to get picked for their teams.
Yeah.
Quent is picked pretty early on by the local ranger.
Oh.
Like, so it's like, you know, he gets to stay in the region. That'll be nice.
Yeah, he gets to stay with his, little brother.
They know the guy. He's like, they're like friends. Him and the ranger, sort of. Like, they have like a relationship. And we're like, hell yeah, this is gonna be fun. To Hollis's rage, Celeste is picked by Hal, Hollis's brother.
Oh. That's fun.
And she gets very upset, obviously, because she's like, why did my brother pick my bully? This is insane.
Yeah.
Celeste is upset because she thinks this is some sort of revenge. She thinks Hal's gonna, like, you know...
Make her do, like, just the dumbest worst work. You know, she's got to clean the horse's stables every week, and she's not going to actually get any combat in. Yeah.
And so, people are being chosen, and Hollis is like still hasn't been picked yet. And all the big boy natural philosophers have picked someone already. Like, you know, the Socrateses and Aristotle people.
Yeah.
Not actually, because they're not really natural philosophers, but people that
people that people know and like recognize, and they have their books.
Yeah, and she's like, oh no, I was really hoping to get that person or that person or that person, and it gets to a point where she's like, I just want to get picked now, like I'm getting worried. And very late on, she gets picked by a mysterious philosopher named Aeneas, Aeneas, like the Greek warrior. So he's just some sort of unknown natural philosopher that she hasn't
heard of.
She's never even heard of him. She's like, oh god. She hoped for someone like big, somebody that has books published.
At least one. At least somebody that she's like seen their books in the local library, even if she hasn't read them. And it's like, nope. You get Aeneas, and he's like, maybe he's this Aeneas, and he's like in this he's got this dark cloak on. I'm thinking of a royal purple kind of cloak, and he walks in, and he needs to show his like guild certificate or certification in order to be one of the mentors that gets to pick. So he pulls out like this giant golden medallion with the guild's like signet on it, and they're like, ooh, people are impressed by him, but nobody knows him. He's like this.
So here's the thing: the other
entity.
philosophers know who he is.
Oh, okay.
So they all know who he is, because he is important, just not in the academic sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's respected, but he's not famous. He's not published.
Yeah.
He's not a published philosopher. So the next day, she's going to go off. Hollis is going to go off and join him out into his lab in the woods, sort of on the edge of the kingdom. And he doesn't explain anything in typical new master movie fashion.
Yeah, of course.
Mentor doesn't explain anything, just makes her start doing things. And he's like having her pick all these strange weeds and all this crap, and she's like, it's crazy, like all this work he's making me do. And then like by the end of the day, she's broken, she's upset, and she starts complaining, and she's raging at him like, this isn't what I asked for. I wanted to work for someone with some sort of renown, somebody that's published. You don't have any books. I looked you up. You don't have anything. Nobody knows who you are. Are you even a natural philosopher?
You might just be some.
And he just quietly like pounds the weeds down, mixes them up, crafts them into a fine small powder. Walks outside, throws them, and it's this massive explosion. She's like, whoa, he does know what he's talking about.
He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's up to.
And so it's sort of revealed that he's like he's a member of the Frontiers Guard. Like Vargas.
Yeah.
He's not a I guess Vargas did both. He published and was a Frontiers Guard, but this guy is just a warrior. He goes out in the frontier, and he does research, and he does missions and stuff.
Maybe Hal.
So it's cool. You know? It's a cool job.
He's a cool natural philosopher. Maybe we can have like Hal doesn't explain it to her, but he's like, he gets a little nervous when Aeneas selects her, because he recognizes him, but he doesn't want to tell her about it, because it's like, that's not how the master-student relationship works. He can't get involved. But he knows that she's like, he lives a very dangerous life. Yeah,
because he's out researching and going into the Elves areas and stuff like that. He's leaving the kingdom. And she was kind of thinking that she was going to get this life researching, safely in a castle. There's some sort of
having
nice note. But he sort of explains to her that her talents, like he watched her at the thing, she can craft potions unbelievably quickly. She's got a great intellect and strength, and she's a natural perfect skills for a frontiers guard. Frontier guard.
She's able to remember the formulas perfectly, but also is able to improvise on the spot, which is exactly what you need to do when you're a frontiers guard. It doesn't matter if you're crafting potions, fighting orcs, or, negotiating trade deals with elves. It's all the same skill set.
Meanwhile, Celeste is going through a terrible training regime with Hal.
Yeah.
She hates it, and she thinks it's revenge for, bullying his sister. Instead, he eventually explains that the reason she's pushed harder than all the other recruits is because she's not training for the army. She's training for the frontier guard.
Yeah.
The elite scouting group. She's gonna be a warrior that's a part of it.
She's gonna be in the SEAL Team 6 of this universe.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So she's excited now because she thinks oh, I'm gonna I'm getting picked for the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm being ruled so hard and trained.
Yeah.
Ridiculously tough. And so, as the series progresses, Aeneas and Hollis will travel out of the kingdom and roam the countryside and study to locate, new plants and stuff. And as they're training, get word that the orcs are growing in number, and they're growing more bold. They're attacking more human trading routes, or human dwarf trading routes, because some of the humans will trade with some elf tribes or some dwarf tribes.
Yeah. In order to get special, herbs in order for the, the King's Guard.
Whatever. Or just, food and stuff.
Yeah.
Just trading whatever. We don't have to get the details of what.
Mm-hmm.
And so Aeneas is tasked with trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And so they start meeting with tribes and they start scouting around. As this is happening, Celeste is training more and more and becomes a great fighter.
She gets huge.
She's bullied and picked on at first, but she starts beating the crap out of everyone.
Yeah.
And she gets brought to the ceremony where they're gonna congratulate some of the brightest recruits, and she's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna get a medal from the prince, and at the ceremony, an orc's gonna try to stab the prince. He's gonna come out of nowhere, and she's gonna save his life.
Yeah.
And they're what?
She turns on the killer instinct and just stabs the guy through the face. I imagine he died. He lunges at the prince.
Well, they can't kill the orc. She's gonna she's gonna stop the orc, and they're gonna capture him so they can question him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big moment because she
just saved the prince.
She stopped it. She saved the prince, and as her reward, is she's gonna be graduated
immediately on the spot.
Yeah. Now she's friends with the prince too. They're buddies. Because he's you saved my life. You're gonna be friends.
Maybe he flirts with her a little bit, just a little bit. But enough.
The prince's name, by the way, is Sten. S-T-E-N.
Sten.
And King Baldur is the king.
Yeah.
Baldur.
Maybe King.
Anyway.
Maybe King Baldur is an ancient. He's an old warrior, and Sten's a little bit more of a a fancy boy. He's a little bit more of. He likes to sing, and he likes to play music, and King Baldur.
I think he's still he's not the typical sort of what you're going for. He's he can fight because the princes and the princesses of this kingdom, they all have to be Renaissance men/women.
Yeah.
They all have to be good at everything, essentially. Mm-hmm. But he's sort of best at statecraft.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And sort of maybe the economic side, but he can fight. He's not weak.
Maybe he's just got. I think it would be interesting if he's got a sort of unique way of fighting, because he's been trained by a bunch of different people who are
maybe
proficient.
He's like the Viper in Game of Thrones. He fights with the big spear.
Yeah, I was just thinking something like that. He's got a signature weapon, and people are like, ooh. But he's also, he talks sweetly, and he's that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So, as that happens, Aeneas discovers the orcs are united under a new leader.
Yeah.
That's why they're sort of forming up. And as they investigate more, they find out that the new leader is the king's bastard eldest daughter.
Oh.
A great warrior and her natural philosopher partner. It's Vargas and Therese. Boom.
Oh my god.
So we'll get some nice reveal about Vargas and Therese, how they were originally captured by the Orcs, but they managed to get free, and then Therese
saw
after years of being in the frontier.
Yeah.
She sort of realizes that they could have this empire. She thinks that they could just squash everyone and take over once again. But her father is always against it. And because she's a bastard, she can't be the ruler. Even though she's older than the other, than Sten.
Yeah, okay.
So she's obviously upset about that, and then she thinks that they could take over. And she sees, we want to make her have reasons that are not just, oh, she's evil, she wants to be in control, right? So she sees, the struggles that the people go through. She sees all the war in this continent, and she thinks that if it was under one rule, it would finally be safe and secure. Peace, prosperity, and security in my new empire.
Yeah, that sort of
Classic
thing.
Anakin Skywalker vibes, right?
Classic, beautiful baby Anakin Skywalker vibes. My favorite fictional character of all time, if you didn't know.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
and then what's
just a quick wrap up. The next part of I don't know if the season would end with that reveal, and the next season would be this, or if that'd be the half season thing, and then the rest of the season would be like this.
I think you can't end it without a big battle. You have to have all three of the main characters, the ranger.
Well, the show wouldn't end with that, but you have to. I mean, the way the show is going to resolve itself is that Celeste obviously just was graduated. Hollis is also going to graduate because they, now that they know they're at war, the humans, they're like, we need to get everyone ready. The kingdom of Asry is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
We need to have all the available philosophers and warriors we've got.
Maybe
and,
Aeneas is like,
as
she's not ready. And then, but against his wishes, she's graduated anyway. And she
has to be ready.
Yeah, and
not everyone's ready for these moments, but you need to be.
You need to be. And I'm gonna be played by Keanu Reeves. I was imagining him as being played by Keanu Reeves. I don't know why, but
I'm cool with that.
I think it works.
Yeah, anyway, so she graduates, and as you have learned, warriors are paired up with philosophers. That's how it works.
No.
So Celeste and Hollis are paired up.
Oh god.
Which is going to be a big emotional hurdle. They have to slowly come to terms with working together and work their issues out. But they're actually really great together because they're essentially the two best at what they do.
Mm-hmm. And they hate each other, so they work harder when they're together to show up the other one.
And they'll work together to defeat Therese and Vargas. Now they're not going to do it themselves, all right? They're not the ultimate heroes in this universe.
Yeah.
They're gonna, play a nice part. Maybe Celeste is gonna hold off Therese for a while, and that's gonna be a big thing because they're like, oh my god, she's such a brilliant warrior. Mm-hmm. But then, their mentors will also step in. Hal and Aeneas will be working together. Yeah. And it'll be like a group effort with the army and them and all that to defeat them.
And it'll be
it's not just going to be like, oh my
moment.
God, they killed all of them.
Oh my God, these guys are the best, and they should take those guys' old jobs, and they should be the best. Everyone should know who they are now. That shouldn't be it. I agree. It should be like a team effort. That's good. I like it. So what was what were the two titles again?
Either the Fallen Empire or the Frontier of Asry. Frontier of Asry.
Okay.
The Frontiers of Asry. Whatever.
The Frontiers.
My notebook over there.
We don't need it. We can come up with a good title on our own. The Frontiers of Asry. The Walls of Asry. No, that's
No, we're done. That's it. Bye.
The Philosophist and the Philosopher and the Swordsman. I don't know.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Exactly. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Well, thank you all for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jake Loth. If you liked Jacob's pilot, which I did, and his whole series, not just the pilot, but the whole series, and you want to hear more pilots from us, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your fish, and most importantly, tell yourself to have a good day, to stay safe out there, folks.
Yep.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.